Hello, everybody, to our new feature of IndieCast. Jazz back with us. So, today, without wasting much time, we will get down to discussing the recent developments in Bangladesh. As we know, the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was sentenced to death along with her Home Minister, both of whom are in absentia. They were tried and sentenced to death, and some kind of legal proceedings had taken place, and a state appointed lawyer was even representing Sheikh Hasina. However, the ICT, which is a body which was ironically established by Sheikh Hasina, has sentenced her to death in relation to crimes against humanity, uh, which was which is related to the protest that took place against her in 2024, the monsoon uprising, as people call it.
Or the quota uprising as well.
Yes. And there was a former Inspector General of Police who basically became like the state witness, and he was given a pretty easy sentence of about, I think, 5 years of imprisonment, as compared to what Sheikh Hasina and the Home Minister were given. And overall, the trials have concluded, and I think let's just discuss the implications of these two, three developments. So, Jay, let's get your opening thoughts.
Sheikh Hasina was pretty critical of the judgment. She said that it was politically motivated. That is kind of ironic because a lot of people accuse her of the same thing, specifically treating the whole Jamaat establishment with such heavy-handed sentencing, where she, through the ICT itself, which is the International Criminal Tribunal, which basically sentenced 6 members from the Jamaat to death for indulging in crimes against humanity during the liberation war. So that caused a lot of controversy. Now, the thing is that Bangladesh has been split into two very, very big camps. There is the opposition camp, which is dominated by the Bangladesh National Party. Then uh, there is the camp which is the Awami League camp. We've discussed this in our previous episodes. But now, with the inclusion of Muhammad Yunus, the person who won a Nobel Peace Prize, no, the person who won a Nobel Prize for
In
economics,
economics,
if I'm
yeah.
not wrong,
And he's
Grameen Bank
yeah, he's a big
creator,
name in like microfinance and all those
microfinancing
things.
and all of that.
But
So
he's also the chief administrator.
essentially the person with the most amounts of power at the civilian front. Even though we cannot really say who has the most amount of power in Bangladesh as of now, because there is some levels of obfuscation. And to come to a conclusion, this is a very messy situation for the Awami League, because most of the institutions that they had helped create in order to go after the opposition in Bangladesh are basically coming back to bite them. So it is a very very catch 22 type of situation. Do if you don't, no, sorry, doomed if you don't, doomed if you do.
Yeah, I think that also, I mean, even her biggest supporter will not deny that Sheikh Hasina did take a huge authoritarian drift towards like the end of her term. And it's not great news for India that she was, exiled out of Bangladesh. But let's just see that the fact that the major trigger for the protests and uprising was, a quota, a civil service quota reform, where basically the descendants of the freedom fighters who supported the Bangladeshi liberation war effort were their descendants were going to get quotas, and that in itself seems like a noble idea. But you have to see that you really can't sort of isolate your domestic population who may or may not qualify to be a part of that quota, right? And I think quota reforms and unemployment related issues are a forefront of major tension all over the subcontinent now. We've seen that even in Nepal, one of the contributory factors for the quote unquote Gen Z revolution was the fact that there is high youth unemployment, and there's a great degree of like frustration. Even domestically in India, we have seen some amount of social strife in Manipur, and part of the reason was, in fact, the debates around quotas for cookies and the fact that Metis don't receive them. So I think we need to start taking note of these issues. And when you don't, and the state apparatus takes a very authoritarian drift and sort of starts isolating its own people, it backfired for Sheikh Hasina. Personally would have liked for India that she could have stayed on in power. but she basically started calling anybody who opposed her a Jamati, and built this huge personality cult figure about her father, which I guess many people who are Gen Z or younger in Nepal can't relate to
Bangladesh,
that much.
Bangladesh.
Sorry, forgive me, Bangladesh can't relate to that much because after all, the 1971 war is also about 54 years old now. So I think maybe newer discussion topics could have helped her. This authoritarian drift did not help her at all. And the fact that you are isolating and calling people in your own domestic polity tablighi jamaatis and those kind of things also did not help her. I'm not saying that the Jamaat was not involved. There are a bunch of universities around Dhaka that is run by the Jamaat. So there's truth to those statements also. But I think that to her discredit, Sheikh Hasina did have a huge authoritarian shift.
Political Islam
Yeah.
essentially thrives with deception. And from what we have seen is that in a lot of national liberation movements across the world, the the movement starts with going against the authoritarian regime, and then the authoritarian regime is suddenly replaced by the Islamist elements. And the best example for this, the best modern example for this is the 1979 Iran Revolution, where you had a significant amounts of leftist student leaders, communists who had actually supported Khomeini. So I think that is true about modern political Islam. This was true about Egypt as well. Like after the revolution in after the Arab Spring, you had Muhammad Mursi's government, which was totally backed by the Muslim Brotherhood takeover. So so I feel Jamaat had a very very important role to play, and of course Jamaat will be involved in all of these things because essentially Bangladesh is a very very important Muslim island, I would say, in an ocean of non-Muslims, and it dominates that area with a significant population. So it can control a lot of power, and historically also it has been a very important zone even in the times of Mughal. So why wouldn't Jamaat want to be a key player? And in order to put pressure on India, put pressure on the Northeast, it would always want to be a player which is inherently being controlled by other parties like China, like the United States, like Pakistan. So from all of that, I feel that Jamaat is the key ingredient. So naturally, in order to counter the people, quote unquote, Sheikh Hasina thinks that were responsible for the killing of her father, she would use brute force. And
Yeah,
you
but
had
that's no
around,
justification
of
at
course,
all.
there is no
It
justification to
backfired
that.
badly for
Yeah,
her.
yes, there is no justification to that. But I'm just telling you as to why Jamaat was clearly involved, and
No,
you
I'm I'm not I'm
cannot
not
say that
denying
Jamaat
it.
wasn't involved.
I did not
Yeah,
deny
I
it.
know,
What
I
I'm
know.
saying is that, in fact, like I said, there around Dhaka there are enclaves of many universities which have uh, some kind of administrative power that the Jamaat exercises over many of those universities. So to mobilize students, I will go to that extent and
Yeah,
say
just like
that
1979 and
yeah.
2013 in Egypt.
Yeah, so to mobilize students and larger crowds would be easy, how for the Jamaatis to do. But what I'm saying is that one reason why Sheikh Hasina was in fact exiled and was in fact sort of becoming hugely unpopular was the fact that she did take a huge authoritarian twist, which was also not resonating with the younger
Yes,
people.
absolutely.
And
1,400
when
people died.
yeah, and when see, I don't want to get into the. There may be foreign elements involved. There may not be foreign elements
No,
involved.
why not? We
Yeah,
should get
no,
into it.
I no. मेरी बात समझ कि मैं इस पोजीशन में हूँ नहीं कि I can say whether what was true or not.
Fair enough.
What I am saying is that when you become overly critical of your own voices of dissent, and you have a body of students who are critical of you in your country, and instead of engaging in dialogue you start calling them Jamatis, then you are hurting your own cause.
Absolutely, but
And that's exactly
I,
what she did.
I totally understand. I'm not justifying the brute force that was used, drone action and continuous firing, but the point is that when you know that you are the person who sees yourself in power, and you know that certain people are coming after you, any authoritarian leader would use that kind of force. So being surprised by the fact that such levels of force was used is also quite ridiculous in my opinion. Because say if the president's house is attacked, a president's house or a prime minister's residence is attacked in India, I mean, similar amounts of people get killed.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and if the so like I think people should view it from this perspective, and I think Amnesty International has also taken a very reasonable stance where they've said that this judgment is very very biased, and to get justice for the people who have died in the protests, Sheikh Hasina has to be present. She cannot judgment cannot be passed against her in absentia in a court which is blatantly against her, filled with people who have had a key role to play in the massacres that happened in 1971. So just because a certain action that was committed by an authoritarian leader whose power was being challenged does not mean that the people who are dominating Bangladesh right now have noble interests for the country or noble interests for our country. So
Yeah,
that's
see,
what I'm trying
that's
to say.
and looking at it purely from the
Yeah.
Indian view, I think the BNP historically has been the more anti-India sort of party. You immediately start seeing engagement with the Pakistani military establishment from the Bangladeshis. There was a time when people believed, for good reason, that Bangladesh was used as a transit point to fuel a lot of insurgencies in Northeast India,
Of course.
which there is more than reasonable intelligence to prove that this was happening under the BNP regimes. And so I'm not saying that what happened in August 2024 is serving India's interests. I think that Sheikh Hasina's later years sort of had this fall from grace because of her, like I said, the shift that she was on. But now I also want to come to the point that even now our relationship with Bangladesh is so crucial that nobody outwardly wants to disengage with the Yunus sort of Jamaati establishment. Like, we have not even condemned her sentencing to the death. All the external affairs ministry said was that we are observing these issues, which is, like, I guess that's how
Pragmatic.
diplomacy is
That's how
supposed to
that's how
work. But having said all of this, uh, following the quote unquote uprising, Bangladesh has in fact been somewhat of a stable country if we are in fact comparing, like, अच्छा मेरे को fair comparison लगते नहीं है, but earlier in this episode you compared it to the Arab Spring and all. uh,
नहीं, इजिप्ट भी काफी स्टेबल कंट्री है, क्या बात कर रहे
हाँ
हो
ठीक है, मतलब फैक्टर्स बहुत अलग हैं. बट वन थिंग दैट आई कैन कंक्लूड क्वाइट सेफली इज दैट द बांग्लादेशी आर्मी हैज ऑल्सो played the role of a stabilizing force. Like, I
तुम?
don't think Yunus himself as a leader can establish that much
ट्रू.
confidence. One thing I think that was orchestrated phenomenally by the Bangladeshi army was that they were able to evacuate Sheikh Hasina. They were able to save more lives. They didn't let their former outgoing prime minister, no matter how authoritarian she'd become, they didn't let her get hurt. So I think that there was a stabilizing, smart role played by the Bangladeshi army. And from what the media reports indicate in that area is that when the future elections will happen, I think they're due in a few months now. The real dates, the scheduling, and everything will also be done with the main overwatch by the Bangladesh army, which I think it has some skeletal remains of what the state would have been in East Pakistan, because that is the same kind of political control that the army enjoys in Pakistan as well. So I think that's one interesting observation, that I feel like no matter who he thinks is in power, the real stabilizing play is being done by the Bangladesh army. And I think, to their credit, they have not let their country descend into chaos, because if they had, it would have been much worse for India, because we have such a porous border with the Bangladeshis. If and like we have concluded that a Jamaat backed government is now in power, so we can also assume that more anti-India activity could be taking place.
It is
We
taking
can,
place.
yeah, we can assume that a lot more smuggling can be pushed into the Indian border. So many, Assam, Mizoram, Meghalaya, they all share. West Bengal obviously share borders with Bangladesh. So I mean, it's a good time to step up on our internal security front also. मुझे एक इंडिया की सिक्योरिटी थिंकिंग में बड़ी लेजी चीज़ लगती है कि हम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम कमेंट्री में ये स्पेंड करने में लगा देते हैं कि CIA ने यहाँ पे इसको बिठा दिया,
I agree.
चाइनीज़ ने ये कर दिया. और जो कोर बॉर्डर सिक्योरिटी रिलेटेड इंटरेस्ट होते हैं ना, उनकी कोई डिस्कशन नहीं होती आज भी इन सर्कल्स में। आप जाके जो पोरस बॉर्डर्स है बांग्लादेश के साथ, या उनमें हमारे इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी रिफॉर्म्स क्या हो सकते हैं, उनकी बात करो तो लोगों को इंटरेस्ट नहीं आता। लो पीपल वांट टू गॉसिप अबाउट जनरल्स इन पाकिस्तान एंड ऑल दैट,
कि
बट
कौन कितनी विस्की पीता
हाँ,
है,
but
कौन
yeah,
क्या
no,
करता
my point is that our position should be here sitting in Delhi, counteracting a very stable security architecture for the subcontinent ourselves. Like, if the CIA sitting in Washington DC can set the tone for what happens in Dhaka, that is in a way a little bit of our intelligence failure also. We need to start playing a stabilizing force in the subcontinent, और वो engagement से ही आता है। मतलब I'm glad, I'm very happy that we are, keeping Sheikh Hasina safe somewhere at a classified location, and we must continue to do so. So yeah, I think Jay,
मुझे ऐसा क्यों लगता है वो दिल्ली में ही गई है.
हाँ probably, but
कलकत्ता में भी किसी को दिखी थी शायद.
यार कलकत्ता में बहुत सारे लोग शेख हसीना जैसे दिख सकते
That's
हैं.
true, bro. Like
दिल्ली में भी to be fair यार.
CR Park में specifically.
हाँ. But coming back, jokes apart, ये इंडिया की तरफ से ना हम लोग, एंड हम लोग कौन होते हैं लेक्चर करने वाले टू द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स कि आप कैसे पॉलिसी बनाओ. आई डू थिंक दैट दे आर बीइंग स्मार्ट, they are being very smart by engaging with the incumbent Bangladesh regime also. And I think कल को बांग्लादेश में एक coup हो भी जाए जो outwardly उसमें कोई बहुत anti India tinge भी हो, but once they come to power, even the Bangladeshis will realize how much they need to coordinate with the Indian state to go
Just
about your
exist.
day-to-day business. There are so many issues. Border security तो issue number 1 है. मतलब ऐसे सुंदरबन के अराउंड फिशरमैन की वेलफेयर, त्रिपुरा और पार्ट्स ऑफ बांग्लादेश में बहुत सारा इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट इधर से उधर गिर जाता है कभी, सो वो वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट. सो देर इज नो फ्यूचर where India and Bangladesh don't have to cooperate heavily on these issues. So I think that's, I guess, what I'm getting at. Without, if we're sounding a little disjointed, I want to kind of chart this together and say that Sheikh Hasina's going away from power was unfortunate for the Indians. I don't think that she was the last person we can engage with in Bangladesh.
Absolutely. I think the overall, sorry to interject,
नहीं
hold
नहीं
your
please
thought,
बोलो.
but overall, see, in international relations, pragmatism and magnanimity are some two of the most important things, and you have to do some things for your country which is beyond your older plan. Say if your plan A fails, then you have to go with plan B, and if plan B means that you have to engage with Muhammad Yunus, you have to engage with the Jamaat, or like we just engaged with the Taliban. Do it if it is beneficial to your country and if it's beneficial to the international interests of your country. So I totally agree here with you.
मतलब I think there is also a lot
गधे
of,
को भी घोड़ा बनाना पड़ता है.
I think, yeah, चलो वो तो ठीक है, but I think there's a lot of scope, for example, for engagement with the Bangladesh army. If
Yeah.
if hypothetically it has played a role where it has played a stabilizing force between the Awami League and the BNP, then we know that just to ensure stability, we need not have friendly leaders in either of the parties. Just having an inroad into the Bangladeshi army is enough to have a stable relationship with our one of our major eastern neighbors.
भाई बुलाओ उनके जनरल को कलकत्ता में दारू वारू पिला के वापस भेजो. बेस्ट.
Jokes apart, I think ironic तो है एक तरह से इन एब्सेंशिया ट्राई करके अपने ही एक्स हेड ऑफ स्टेट को डेथ सेंटेंस दे देना. I do think that this future of Yunus in Bangladesh does not have a lot of time left. I think an election will happen soon, or some kind of military backed regime will come in power. And India's engagement with whatever regime comes in power will be heightened. India will keep engaging with whoever comes in power, no matter how many pictures with Asim Munir they post, India will keep engaging with whoever's there.
आसिम मुनीर को पूरा इंडिया की एयर स्पेस ही चैनल करनी पड़ेगी टू रीच. Do we
Yeah.
give access to our airspace to Pakistani planes? I don't think so.
I think maybe sometimes in peacetime कर देते होंगे. Yeah, this I'm not in a position to comment
Yeah.
on this. But
क्योंकि उन्होंने तो airspace अभी बंद कर दिया.
because if we weren't, then why would the headline come every time there was a conflict कि airspace बंद कर दी? तो I'm just
नहीं, बट पाकिस्तान ने
speculating
तो
at this
बंद कर
point.
रखी है अपनी एयर स्पेस अभी भी.
हाँ. And yeah, so I mean, these are some things that I can't comment on.
Hmm.
But to conclude, I think that Sheikh Hasina is likely to not go back for a long time. There, whichever new power is to emerge, we will continue to engage with them, as will foreign intelligence agencies.
Hmm.
And how much of a stabilizing force you can play in South Asia will indicate कि power balance किसकी तरफ shift होता है बांग्लादेश में. और ये कमेंट्री और थिंक टैंक्स के दिल्ली में कुछ कुछ बोलने से ज़्यादा से नहीं होता. आई थिंक वी विल नीड टू स्टार्ट रियली पुटिंग आर मनी वेयर द वेयर अ माउथ इज़. एंड आई थिंक हमारे फॉरेन पॉलिसी गोल्स बहुत मल्टीपल फ्रंट्स पे उतने सक्सेसफुल नहीं रहे हैं पिछले कुछ सालों में. तो अगर हम अब तालिबान के साथ फॉर एग्जांपल इंगेज कर रहे हैं, अब बांग्लादेश में मिलिट्री के साथ इंगेज कर रहे हैं, या even after the recent shift in the American language about the Indians, we took a natural interest in rebuilding our relationship with the Chinese. So I think this stability needs to be sustained.
Hmm.
And if we sustain these goals, तभी हमारे foreign policy goals थोड़े successful होंगे.
True
That's
that.
it from my side.
Same. I think
All right.
we can call it quits.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Join us again for other episodes. Love you guys. Bye.